Well, just short and sharp, Toby. What, were you expecting that tonight?
No, no, not at all. We talked about how difficult it was going to be coming here. Irrespective of league position, I just spoke to Mike Blair about it actually, and it's really difficult. But the two games that you have to be so aware of emotional drivers are the first game of the season and the last game of the season at home, because everyone's very, very excited and keen and emotional. And we talked about the first 15, 20 minutes and about how important they were going to be. And to be honest, we couldn't have, it couldn't have gone any worse for us, to be fair, which set the tone and set the challenge, 3 scores in that time. And as we know, then it became a bit more of an arm wrestle. We score, they score. And yeah, the nature of the game probably was a bit chaotic for everyone. But ultimately, we made it very difficult for ourselves with our performance in the first 25 minutes.
The emotion, obviously, you knew what Edinburgh were going to be last game. Quite a few, head coach leaving or leaving his role and different things. How do you account for that?
Well, I just think that you need to be clean and controlling. So, it starts with the penalty count and the breakdown. I thought they were unbelievably good at the breakdown. We also know they wanted to keep the ball, so we wanted to keep the ball on our terms, and we didn't do that. And then you go searching for a little bit. The scoreboard affects it, and then they piggyback up the pitch on discipline. Very uncharacteristic for us. The penalty count and the 2 yellow cards is very uncharacteristic for us. But that's then you're continually adapting and adjusting to the situation and you're reacting rather than being sort of in control and proactive and putting pressure on them. So I never thought we got out of that vicious circle in the first half, and then we recalibrated at half time, got a little bit more traction and looked much better in the second, but by then it's too late.
Probably, you look at the other results, the Cardiff have basically done the same. They haven't picked up anything tonight. So the scenario is next week, if you want to win the Welsh Shield, you've got to beat them with a bonus point and deny them a bonus point, because you have to get 5 points and deny them anything because the match is won. So work cut out, I suppose.
Yeah, without doubt. But we've been there and done it before. So even though it's our home game and they're at home, but yeah, it's going to be a tough challenge. But Welsh derbies are one-offs. We talked about that last week. And yeah, we'll dust ourselves down. And part of being a professional sportsman and being competitive is, you have to move on very quickly and not dwell on what's gone on before. And it's our last home game, so it will certainly be an emotional for everybody next week.
Given what we do know, Toby, is that there will be no Welsh team in the playoffs again this season, second in URC. Given the challenges you face, is that something that you expect when you start the season, given what you come up against?
No, of course not. I don't think anyone can expect it. If you expect it, then you fulfil your own prophecy. I think that if I look, I can only comment obviously on ours, and I'm sure other regions have got their own discussions. If I look at not tonight, but if you look at the narrow results which we've been on the wrong side of, and conversions to win the game and penalties to win the game, and there's certainly at least 4 or 5 of those that we've had, and that's the difference at this level. And again, I think that the strength in depth, your ability to build momentum through selection, around international windows, all plays a part. But we still had enough control in our own destiny, especially in the early parts of the season, I think, even though we were probably hamstrung by some key injuries and had people learning the trade. That's where this season sort of ebbed out of the way. That since then, since Block 2, the European campaign, it's been the competition. We pushed Leinster close at home. We've had narrow losses and obviously found our way to win certain stuff. So it's all around, we're competitive, but we need more consistency, and that comes from, probably pressure on selection and us being clearer and people being a year more experienced and what's required. But the difficult thing in going forward with smaller squad size is going to be hard to maintain that competitive edge around selection. So there's some challenges both on the pitch and off the pitch to get that consistency.
You mentioned emotion, Toby. What will this week be like? I mean, players leave regions every year. It's the nature of the beast, but you're obviously going to lose some players, people you see every day, people you work with. What will that week be like, do you think?
Well, I think that I think that we will certainly probably need to emotionally recover from what we've just been through, first and foremost, because that was very uncharacteristic to what we've produced previously, and there's some lessons in that. And then secondly, I think that we need to turn you around and go back to what we can control and leave that behind us. So like anything, like any breakup, the first bit's the worst bit, and then after that, you're looking for the next cab off the rank. So from that point of view, that's what we'll have to do. And the next cab off the rank for us is Cardiff, in a Welsh derby. So I don't think we'll be worried about from an emotional point of view. Again, it comes to the control of that emotion and the accuracy that follows it. And what's good about where we've been previously in Welsh derbies, we've actually managed to do well in those outcome wise, but in relation to the control side and not been involved in that emotional sort of roller coaster of what is a Welsh derby. So from that point of view, I think it's going to be same again, but it's easier said than done, especially when there's a very good side that's got exactly the same thing to play for as you have.
Just, Toby, how much good news will you be able to give your fans, just in terms of you've got one match left, but you've still got signings to do, this off the field? How much, if you're an Ospreys fan now, how much good news can they expect in the next few weeks with the season finishing next weekend?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, it depends on your definition of good news, for sure. But no, we've got a lot of good news in relation to keeping, people at the Ospreys in particular. Everyone knows that, where the game is going from a financial point of view, and you have to cut your cloth accordingly. So there's going to be some disappointing in that. But unfortunately, we've got to protect Ospreys for the long term. And we're confident that some of the news coming out will be obviously very well received, and it gives us a chance to move into the next era.
And sorry, I didn't see all the games because I was watching two games at the same time. Any knocks tonight? Anything?
No.
Significant? Are you as you are for next weekend as well?
I think so. I mean, there's always some bumps that come, bruises come out. But no, from the initial reports are there was nothing. There was nothing new.
Owen Watkin, he obviously came off against Saracens. How's he?
Owen Watkin, no. Owen Watkin.
Yes, yeah.
Owen Watkin won't be available for us next week. He's got a nerve twinge in his shoulder, so he won't be. But the boys that played tonight are all good.
Thank you, Toby.